How good is your dog's working memory? Well, you can test this. It's very, very simple. Just get 3 blinds, as we call them. They can be anything as long as they're the same, and I'm using cones here. What I'm going to do is that we're going to bring Hedwig and Lizzie in. I'm going to show Hedwig that there's a piece of food. I'm going to put it behind one of these cones, and then Lizzie is going to remove Hedwig from the room for about 2 minutes. Then Lizzie's going to bring Hedwig back in. She's going to stand about 6 to 8 feet away from the cones, and then she's going to let Hedwig off to see if Hedwig remembers where I put the treat. This is the short-term memory test. I'm going to bring Lizzie and Hedwig in now. Hey, girl. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show Hedwig that I have food in my hand. Look, oh my goodness. Look at this. Really good to do this with a very highly food motivated dog. And I'm going to hide the treat behind one of these blinds. I'm going to choose this one. And I'm going to show her where I put it. Then I'm going to come back to her, show her that I don't have anything in my hand. She's seen where I've put it. She actually is, if you can see her now, she's actually looking at where I put it. But now this is where we test her short-term memory. We're going to take her out for 2 minutes. I'm going to see when we come back, does she still remember where that treat is? All right, if you want to take her out, and take her right out of the room. And you have to time this exactly. So set your watch. 2 minutes from now, we'll bring Hedwig back into the room and we'll see if she remembers where I put the food. You might think that this is actually easy for dogs to do, but actually you'll find that this is much, much harder. Dogs do have good working memories, but 2 minutes is quite a long time for the dog to be out of the room. And some dogs just can't even do it at 1 minute. But we're going to test her at 2. If she's really good at 2, we might go to 5. It's been 2 minutes now, and Lizzie's back with Hedwig. And Lizzie is going to give the release cue, which is okay. We're going to see if Hedwig heads directly to where she remembers where I put the treat. Okay. Okay. That is really good. Now, towards the end, she put her nose on the ground because she needed that olfactory sense as well. But if you could see her when she first came in here, she was looking at that cone again. She absolutely remembered where I'd put the treat. And then when she headed towards the cone, she headed with her nose up, and then only when she got to the cone did she put her nose down to find where that food was. So she's got good short-term memory, and now because she's good at that, I would like to try her at 5 minutes.
Okay.
Do you think we could do 5 minutes?
I think so.
5 minutes, this is testing longer-term memory, and if you think that 5 minutes, that's easy. Actually, for most dogs, it's really, really hard, but we're going to test her at 5 minutes to see if she can do it. Because we see that Hedwig has actually really good short-term memory, she remembered after being out of the room for 2 minutes where the treat was hidden. We're going to test her longer-term memory and see if she can remember it at 5 minutes. So I'm going to hide the treat now behind a different blind, behind a different cone, and we're going to see if she can remember where it is. Okay? So, again, I'm going to go through the whole process. I'm going to show her the food. Then I'm going to come behind this cone. I'm going to show her where I put the food. Show her that I don't have food in my hand. And then Lizzie's going to take Hedwig out for 5 minutes. Okay? This is really hard for a lot of dogs to do. 2 minutes might seem easy. 5 minutes is a different deal. So now we're testing dogs' longer-term memory. All dogs should have good working memory because it's just important for life. It's not so important for a domestic dog, but certainly for a dog that's in the wild, it has to hunt for their own food. But even for domestic dogs, let's say if you throw something and you want them to go find it, go retrieve it, then they have to remember the general direction which the toy or the stick was thrown. Long-term memory is also extremely important for dogs, and of course most of them have good long-term memory because they have to remember what they learned. They have to remember what the shape of certain words mean. They have to remember that a word is associated with a certain cue. They have to remember their territory. They have to orientate their way around the house. They have to remember faces. So this is how you test your dog's long-term memory. Whether your dog has good short-term memory or good long-term memory, finds the treat or not, it's not a pass or fail. This is just really great information for you to have about your own dog to make learning easier. Okay, we are very close to 5 minutes, so if we bring Hedwig in. Okay, now you're going to use your release cue, and let's see what she does. Does she remember which cone the food was hidden behind?
Okay.
She does. She really does. That's a combination. And again, when you brought her in, she was already looking at it, already saw her. Do you know how difficult that is for a lot of dogs? That actually, even though quite a few dogs can do the shorter term memory test, that 5 minutes is a long period of time. So the fact that she comes in here again and already orientates herself towards the cone that has the food behind, and then only uses her nose as she's going towards the cone, that tells me that she's got good long-term memory. Good girl. Yes, you're a good girl. Yes, you are. Good girl, my love.